Okay, well, maybe the title is a bit sensationalistic, but like, seriously. A couple of months ago, well, more than a couple of months ago, I did a video called The Truth About Buffs in Dark Souls 3 and all that good stuff, exposing the tricky nature of buddy buffs when it comes to PvP in Dark Souls 3. Basically, it all came down to the fact that certain effects are gimped in PvP on purpose, namely the buddy buffs. When I released this video, I felt like it will definitely be addressed in the future updates. It never really felt like it's here to stay. However, it's been more than half of a year and it's still here. At this point, I don't feel like FromSoft are gonna change their mind about it. Today, we take a look at some of the buff effects in order to determine if there is any reason for FromSoft to limit us in PvP. Let's start with some of the weirdest examples, like Sacred Oath. It is literally useless in PvP. Now, I did come back to it and tested it again. Nope, it's still a piece of shit miracle with barely noticeable boost that requires 2 attunement slots and 28 fate to use. Well, unless you use the Sacred Silver Solar Sword, whatever. Let's just take a look at what it actually does promise. And the promise is 10 absorption and 10% AR. Now, would that be overpowered? Well, not really. If it did work as it describes, then it would become part of the meta, which is really not that bad considering the meta is what it is. It's a never-ending chase for efficiency. But meta aside, would that make it somehow broken? Like for low-level invasions or arena? Not really, at least I don't think so. However, what it does is that it kills your ability to go full damage, thus effectively limiting your options, as it more or less crosses glass cannon fun build off of your list. Then we move on to Deep Protection. That is literally a baby version of Sacred Oath. It promises to deliver 5% AR increase and 5 absorption, as well as 20 of something resistances, as if it ever was useful in Dark Souls 3 PvP. Now, does it deliver? Not really. But one may argue that the boost they claim is so small that it can be fit within the margin of error. Oh well, again, why FromSoft? Why? All of this just limits our options to bare bones quality setup with Whiff Punish Stick. But it doesn't really have to be like that. Previous installments in the series have completely viable buffs. Let's take a look at Dark Souls 2 for example. Sacred Oath, while it isn't that stat efficient, it definitely did deliver on its promise. And it was fun to use, since you could always count on it if you needed some extra power. And I'm not even talking about other cool buffs like numbness. These buffs matter, yet in Dark Souls 3 it's a joke. All FromSoft did achieve with this is skilling fun builds and a notable chunk of build variety. Oh, and while we're doing Dark Souls 2 comparisons, let me mention the fact that Dark Souls 2 did allow you to buff elemental weapons, ensuring that all of the infusions are usable. Whatever happened to that? Yes, to some degree tumbling was pretty OP in Dark Souls 3, but with a bit of work it could have been adjusted and perfected, to the point that we got more fun builds to play with. It just seems that From wanted to protect the player from being killed in few hits at all cost. But they missed the fact that even though previous games did allow you to push your character for max damage, those setups were always far from meta and were generally gimmick builds. I just feel the Phantom Pain, all these useless buffs and infusions could have been put to work, helping the game balance nicely, but no. And don't get me started on Dark Souls 3 rings that mean absolute jack shit in PvP, where Blue Tearstone ring in Dark Souls 3 is never even close enough to save you, yet in Dark Souls 2 it's a part of meta swap and gives you noticeable advantage. It just seems like all these balancing decisions that were supposed to make the game better just contributed to its small pool of viable builds problem, making it even smaller. And it seems like all those decisions are very well intended. It has been quite some time since the release of Dark Souls 3, and we haven't seen anything to point that it will ever be addressed. Oh well, this looks like another random ramble. Guys, let me know what you think about it, leave a comment, let's get discussion going. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.